Hey everybody, for those that don't know me, my name is Adam Vodicka. I'm the youth director at Mayfield Church, and I have the devotion for today. And I'd like to talk a little bit about something that you probably heard a lot about in the news and through the media, and it's something that I will probably be the least likely to talk about because I don't deal with it as a problem or a burden. I've always been a pretty easygoing person, and this thing that I'd like to discuss with you all today is the topic of worry and fear. I'm pretty laid back, I'm pretty take it as it comes kind of person, and when this whole pandemic and outbreak had started, I really didn't worry too much or care too much about it because, again, I thought to myself, if something were to happen to me, I would deal with it as it comes, but I'm just going to, I'll do the precautions necessary, but I'm just going to, go on with life. And little did I know that my worry and my fear would be tested this past week. About 4 days ago, I was cleaning out my garage, and I started to get a little bit of a headache. And I thought to myself, okay, I get headaches from time to time, that's fine. I'll take some medicine, deal with it. It got progressively worse, and I started to feel a little dizzy into the evening. And finally, when I went to lay down to go to sleep, I noticed I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning, again, the lightheadedness. I decided to check my fever, and I had a fever of over 100. And so I thought to myself, something's just not right here. I don't understand what's going on. I don't feel good. I need to call somebody. And so it was about 1:30, and I decided to call the nurse on call at Hillcrest. And she went through some questions with me, and I answered all the questions. Being a type 1 diabetic as well, and giving my medical history. And then she finally said, Adam, you need to go to the ER. I'm going to prep them to let them know that you're coming. Being a diabetic, this could possibly be COVID-19. And I heard that, and my heart kind of sank a little bit. And I thought, man, I don't really, I'm a pretty easygoing person, but now I told myself if something were to happen, then I deal with it then. Well, this is the then. I never thought it would happen. And so I decided to drive myself. I didn't want anybody else driving to be exposed to anything. And my wife and kids were asleep, and so I let my wife know what I was doing, and I drove out there, and it seemed like a long drive. The whole entire time I was thinking to myself, what if I have it? What if this is something that I know I'm at a high risk factor, being a type 1 diabetic, along with people who are older or people who have respiratory problems. This could potentially be fatal. And I thought to myself, what do I do? How do I deal with this? What if and I started going down the rabbit hole of what if I die? What if this takes me? What if this is it? So I finally got to the hospital, and I got there, and I got the mask on, and I went into to the treatment room, and the person that was intaking me, was asking me all the questions and doing my vitals. And, she got the cuff out, and so I went to put my arm out, and she said, just relax, I got it. So, okay. And she's like, okay, we're going to have to do an EKG on you now, so come on back to the room so we can do an EKG. And she started putting the pads on me. So I was trying to anticipate where she was putting those things on me. And I realized as I was doing that, I tried to anticipate, okay, she's going to put it on this arm, so I'm holding it up. And she's like, no, I'm going to put it up here. And she finally just said, Mr. Vodicka, relax, I got you. I got you. And in that moment, a verse came to mind that I'd like to read this morning, or whenever you're reading, or whenever you're listening to this during the day today on Monday. But it's from Matthew chapter 6, and this came to my mind, and this really helped. Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. I'm going to read from the Message translation because I think it resonates with my mindset as I was hearing her say, just relax, I got you. And it says this: if you decide for God, living a life of God worship, it follows that you don't fuss about what's on the table at meal times or whether your clothes in your closet are in fashion. There is far more to your life than the food you put in your stomach, more to your outer appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Look at the birds, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description, careless in the care of God. And you count far more to him than birds. Has anyone, by fussing in front of the mirror, ever gotten taller by so much as an inch? All this time and money wasted on fashion, do you think it makes that much difference? Instead of looking at the fashions, walk out into the fields and look at the wildflowers. They never primp or shop, but have you ever seen color and design quite like it? The 10 best-dressed men and women in the country look shabby alongside them. If God gives such attention to the appearance of wildflowers, most of which are never ever seen, do you think he'll attend to you, take pride in you, and do his best for you? What I'm trying to get you to do here is to relax. To not be so preoccupied with getting so you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things. But you know both God and how he works. Step your life into God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now. And don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when the time comes. And so I started to relax. I started to let the nurses and caregivers do what they needed to do. And it turns out my test was negative. But I was very relaxed. You'll see a picture here of me being very relaxed in the hospital. This was not drug-induced. I only had Tylenol in this picture. But this is a pretty relaxed picture, and I just sat there and let them do their thing, especially when they were trying to get the IV, and I had both my arms down, and they had to stick me a total of 5 times to try and get, because my veins apparently are very hard to get to. But I just sat there, and they commented that I was the most just still and patient person that had been in the ER that night. That it was because of the peace of God. So no matter what, whether we're prone to worry or not, it's going to creep in. It's going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen with this, and it did. And I learned a lesson from it. So something to take away from is that God cares for us. He's with us. I shared with the youth too that he's grieving with us. Jesus is with us in our present moment and cares about our needs and meets them, whether we think it's in our way or not. So relax and know that God is with you, and that we are with you as a church staff. And there is hope, and we are together strong. So God bless. Thank you for letting me share today.